Hey, thanks for tuning in this week. Welcome back to Local Focus. I'm Sebastian Noel. One of the coolest things about having my own show here is Adam doesn't tell me who to interview. Steve really doesn't tell me who to interview. So I get to interview my favorite players. So we had Jalen Levanto last week, and this week I brought in my other favorite player in the city, the best defender in the state, in my opinion. I'm going to go Stephen A. Yes, that's the way I voted. I don't care who won the award. DeMarcus Sutphen is my guest this week. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man, I've been waiting to have you for a while, so let's talk about that championship season. How did it start at the beginning? Did you guys feel it right away at the beginning? When did it start to gel?
Right as we lost last year in the semifinals, we already knew at the beginning of the season, there's no way we're losing this year, you know what I mean? Because we're going with a different mentality that we know how it feels like to lose. So we're just going in heads high, not too big, but just trying to win games and just make sure we get to the tournament.
I know Coach talked about an early practice early in the year, and then that game against El Dorado is kind of bringing you guys back down a little bit, the tough competition right at the beginning. And then he said after that, you guys pretty much took off.
Yeah, after the Metro, it was the Metro Championship, right? After we lost by, 20? After that 20-point loss. Yeah, that was tough. That was a bad game for us. We were shooting that well. But at that next practice, though, you know, Coach got in us. We started talking a little bit more. And we circled up, and we just talked about what we had to do and stuff like that. And we realized what we had to do and play as a team, and sure enough, it got us where we needed to be.
Now, Coach doesn't seem like the easiest guy to play for. So what does he say when you take it on the chin by 20?
Let's see. Coach
Keep it clean.
Yeah, Coach Ortega. Coach Ortega. Well, you see him during the games. He's very animated. He's very into the game. So a practice with him is – I like it. I'm sure all the guys would agree with me too. Otherwise, they wouldn't be playing for him. But he gets us mentally strong, and that's what all of us notice is that if he yells at us or tells us something, not to take it personal. That's what usually everyone has a problem with is people take it personal. But it's just he's just telling it because it's just off the top of his head. You know what I mean? Like he'll call. Like, for example, he called me in and during practice, and he was just telling me off and stuff like that. But later on, he explained to me, because I didn't take it personal. I was just like, I understand, because I've been playing with him for, 4 years now? It'll be my 4th year. So I just took it in, and he later on explained to me what I had to do, what the meaning of it was him yelling at me as being one of the leaders on the team. So it's easy. You just have to get used to it. Pretty much, yeah.
Now, is he a rip into team guy, or is he a get into an individual guy?
No, he's definitely all about the team. He doesn't just yell at just one guy on the team. He yells at everyone the same way. During practice, if you're not practicing hard, he doesn't matter who. Even like a JV guy playing up, he's gonna rip him no matter what. So that's what I like about him too, is that he's fair. He's fair. He is.
Now, let me ask you, because you're a pretty unique player, and you know you do a lot of talking on the court, and you know you're high intensity. And so have you guys ever butted heads? It seems like he would not be the kind of coach that a free spirit like you could get along with, but it seems like you guys are always on the same page.
Yeah, we've definitely butted heads before, definitely.
Best story? You have a story about that? Best one?
Yeah, it was, I remember we were playing Cibola. And he said he wanted to get Jordan the ball in the middle, just would move the ball around. And a lot of guys, like,
was that the one where he called a timeout and he's like, "Have you guys met Jordan? He's your big guy." Because I remember he did that once too.
Yeah, and he pulled me out, and it was like just the beginning of the second half, and he like reamed us, and he reamed me. He yelled at me, and because I was wide open for a shot, and I took the shot, which I understand why I shouldn't have shot the ball, because we had just worked the ball around. But I was wide open, so I shot it. You know what I mean? And that's where we really butted heads, because I was like, I'm gonna shoot an open shot, but I understood what he was talking about. Just move the ball around and try to get it to our big, which is primarily what was the main thing for us this year. So, yeah, but we butted heads a lot of times this year, actually, but we always ended up on the same page afterwards.
Now, district play starts, and obviously a lot is always made about that district, and that district is a lot of fun. You know, I get the privilege of, we did a lot of games on Proview. I do some PA announcing at West Mesa, so I see that district a lot. And a lot of people talked about how competitive it was, but really, you guys ran through that district a couple years as the cream of the crop. And yeah, there was always a battle for second, but talk about district play.
District play. Very, how do I say it? Competitive. It was very competitive with Valley, you know, Anthony Chavez. And then on Albuquerque Ave, you have Randy and Marlon and Silas Cole. That district was very Oh, yeah. That district was good. I'm going to miss that district very much. It was very competitive and headbutting, always talking trash, always something in the middle. Every game. It didn't matter with who, whether we were playing Highland or West Mesa. It didn't matter if we were winning by 15 or losing by 15. It was always something happening.
Now you're going to go into a new district, obviously, and a little different style in that new district. I would say a little softer style. Some of those teams are a little more interested in playing offense than they are that drag-out District 4. Is that something you're looking forward to? They're probably not used to someone getting up in them when they're guarding like you. Yeah. Is that something you're going to get joy out of?
Yeah, I'm going to try and switch that up a little bit because I know mostly the guys in that district, those are all like – mainly my guys, my friends. So,
but they want their space, right, on offense. They're not
David
used
Patterson,
to someone.
Yeah, they're all gonna want to shoot. They're all good. David's gonna want to shoot. I'm gonna be in him like glue. So, and Jalen Munn, a great player. I'm gonna be guarding him same way I've always been, just in him the whole game. But those guys like that, and Amir, if I get matched up with Amir, that's gonna be fun too, because he's a guard, and that's what made my like guarding the most is the point guards, because I like guard him 94 feet.
So you get to the tournament. Are you guys clicking on all cylinders by the time the tournament starts, do you feel?
Yes. Absolutely. After we lost in the district championship to Valley, yes, by state we are all one because we just needed that one loss, just that one loss. I feel like I'm glad we didn't need that district championship loss because we already had the record, right? So after we lost to Valley, we were just like, okay, time to get back on our stuff. Let's have a good practice, a few good practice before state, and we didn't lose.
So you're watching that El Dorado-Cleveland matchup like the rest of us. Are you mentally preparing for a battle with El Dorado at that point?
Yep, I'm ready.
And then what are you thinking at the end there?
I'm in the box seats and I'm watching the game, and the buzzer goes off and stuff like that, watching a very good game, and the buzzer goes off, and I'm just getting up, stretching, getting ready for overtime. I'm like, okay, overtime. And I look back down to the court. The refs are running up the ramp, and the Cleveland coach is flashing his stuff. He's flashing, and I was just like, I'm looking at my mom. I'm like, did they just call a game? And yeah, that was very wild. I couldn't believe what I was watching.
And then you have to shift focus. You think you're going to get El Dorado. You get Cleveland instead. A little bit of a different matchup, but take us through the championship then.
Personally, I'm glad we didn't play El Dorado at all because El Dorado, that was a very high IQ team. If anything, this should have been their year. I think, if anything, it was definitely up for grabs between us and them. I had no idea Cleveland was going to be in the mix, but I was not trying to play El Dorado in the championship game. But that's why I'm glad we matched up with Cleveland because I think Cleveland's El Dorado's definitely a way better team and they're smarter than Cleveland's team. But going through the championship, there was some, let's see, how do I explain the championship game? It was intense the whole game, especially when they started pressing. That was very intense for me too, because when I swung it to Diego and he'd bring up the ball, they'd go trap right away, so I'd have to get the ball and just push through. But when leave the press, there's a lot of turnovers that game. We do a lot of bad passes during that press, but it happened so fast.
And you guys had a couple of extra 100 fans, right? Because at that point, everyone's rooting against Cleveland. Yeah. So was that weird looking up, seeing all these guys rooting for you that probably normally wouldn't be a Trisco fan?
Yeah, we're warming up. And it's weird because it's on the east side of town. They're up in the mountains and they're rooting for Trisco. We're on the totally opposite side of town. So we're not even expecting anything. And we see all kinds of stuff after El Dorado and Cleveland's game. All kinds of stuff like they hate Cleveland and everyone show up on the Trisco side. We're like, and so we look in the stands, we're warming up, and our student section is massive. It was just wild, and then it was crazy what they were yelling though. You shouldn't be here. They were saying stuff like that during warm-ups. Yeah, that was definitely, I'll remember that for the rest of my life.
All right, we're going to take a quick time out here. We're going to come back, talk to DeMarcus some more. We're going to get into the whole best defender in the state, talk about his defensive mindset, and then we're going to talk about his trash talking because this young man does like to talk on the floor. We'll be right back.
Sadie's is a proud supporter of New Mexico high school sports and athletics, and we here at Proview Networks would like to thank Sadie's for their continued support in helping us bring you all of your New Mexico high school sports coverage.
All right, we're back with DeMarcus Sutphen. Let's talk about your defense a little bit. So I remember a game against Albuquerque High where it really struck me. I interviewed you post-game, and we talked about your defense, and you said that, you take pride in that, and you watch a lot of film, you know your players' tendencies. So talk about that a little more, just how much prep goes into your defense.
Well, a lot of prep too is seeing what his strong hands are. Like after the Albuquerque High game, when I guarded Randy, that part of the third quarter and all the fourth quarter, and he didn't score a point. I don't think the whole fourth quarter. And my thing was just forcing him right hand, making him go his right hand.
Well, come on, bro. The whole city knows that about Randy, but you shut down guys like Anthony and Jose and Eloy, where guys that are going off every night, and it seems like you're just in their head and you know all their tendencies.
Well, I notice what bothers him a lot is my length. My length really bothers, like especially Anthony. I know for a fact he can try and say that it doesn't bother him at all, but I know my length really bothers him. I know it does for a fact, especially whenever he tries to, I'll body him a lot the whole game, and then when I'll just slide in there and take a charge, I know that. And then a lot of thing is we were talking about my trash talking. I do clap and I get into the game.
We'll get to that. So here's the story. So I'm not at that game. Adam's doing that game, right? And I want to say I was at Rio Rancho, Cleveland. And I get a text from Adam, because Adam and I, we love what we're doing. And we all have our favorites, and I know who Adam's favorites are, he knows who my favorites are. So I get a text from Adam before I'm getting ready to do my game, and he's like, dude, your boy's on the floor telling Anthony he ain't getting bleeped tonight. He ain't getting his average tonight. And I was like, well, that's why I like DeMarcus. That's awesome. So talk about that. You start before the game, you start in on Anthony.
Oh, yeah, right before the tip-off, I go and shake everyone's hand, because I know the majority of the guys, and I just slide a few words over to Anthony, which, Anthony, he ain't going to say nothing back. If anything, he'll just laugh at me because, Anthony doesn't say much. But I slide a few words in there before the tip-off, and I told him he wasn't going to get that much tonight. But I slipped in a few cuss words. But yeah, right before tip-off, and he gets the ball, I'm already clapping. I'm already getting in him. But, yeah, that's about it.
So we're at West Mesa. I'm the PA announcer at West Mesa. I remember your first year in there. I think that was the game West Mesa won that year. But I remember you even then defending, and I remember sitting at the table, and I was like, man, who is this jerk? He's just talking all this trash out here. Well, you roll in there your second year. By that time, I'm like, man, we need a guy like this. And so you pride yourself in that now, that you're always guarding the other team's best guy.
Always.
Talk about that.
See, that's the thing, because whenever I guard the other guy's best guy, the other team's best player, I'm always just trying to get him out of his comfort zone. That's my thing. It's trying to, I'll bump him always. I'll try to, just run into him a little bit, get physical. And then I just try to throw him out of the comfort zone. That's all I try to do. I don't try to do anything else. I don't try to hurt him. I don't try anything like that at all. I just try to get him out of the comfort zone, get him mad right away.
Now, is that where the talking comes in?
Oh, yeah.
Because I see you, you're friends with most of these guys. I see you before and after the game, but when you're on the floor, you are up in their head. That is definitely a space that you've occupied most of the night against the opponent. Where did that come from? Did you have a player that you watched growing up that did a lot of that, or did that just come naturally? Or?
Yeah, natural. I just been doing it my whole life. Ever since I've been playing as a youngster, I just talk. It's nothing bad. All the guys know after the game. I always tell them whenever we hug it out, I was like, don't take that personal. Like it was just the game. I always tell them, but. Yeah, ever since I was young, I'm always just talking, and that's just how I am. I'm never quiet. Like I always used to tell myself, I need to be more, composed on the floor, but I can't. I'm too animated. I'm too into the game. I can't. There's no way. My facial expressions, when a bad call, I'm always doing something. You know what I mean?
And has Coach embraced that in you, that role that you play on the team?
He used to get very mad at that. He always used to get mad. And you don't need to tell the refs anything. You don't need to. But I think he finally got used to it, because he just finally realized that this is how I am. It's nothing I can try and change it. It'll go on for a few games, but I promise I'll be right back to the same guy I was 2 weeks ago.
Now, is there a player where you just know before tip, you've already done some talking, you look right into their eye and no, they're already gone. I already got them. Does that ever happen?
I already got him.
You don't have to name them, but has that happened?
Oh, yeah, definitely, especially in the district where we were in before. Oh, yeah, in that West Side district, definitely.
And that district being so competitive, are there some guys, your game seems to be the best when you're doing the most talking and when the lights are the brightest. Some guys maybe don't react to that. Are there guys that just, they kind of shrivel up when that happens? Do you see that as an opponent out there on the floor?
Oh yeah, that's when I really get in them, is when they really start shriveling up and not wanting the basketball in their hands. They'll pass it right away. That's when I really get in them.
So, is that a weapon, do you think, that more guys could use, or does that just have to be in your personality? Is that something you can add to your game, or is that just something that you thrive on that maybe other guys can't do?
I think anyone can do it. I mean, I hope others would take what I do. You know what I mean? That'd be really cool if I spread something out like that. But yeah, that's just what I've been doing. It'd be really cool if people could get that. It's not something I want to hold into myself, because if it makes them a better player, then I'm all about it. You know what I mean? So it's all about confidence.
So you have guys now that are scoring 25 or 30 a game, and they're highly regarded as some of the best players in the district. But then there's you, who, the scoring doesn't always come, but I would say you're probably one of the most well-respected players in that district, and it comes all on that defensive end of the floor. Talk about that a little bit. Just, when did other coaches, when did we as media, when did we start giving you the credit you deserved? When did you become more than just some trash-talking kid?
When I started locking up big-time players who dropping like 25, 30 points a game to 10 points, and getting them like when we started blowing out teams by 20, because that's when really started coming around. Because at first I was just, I came in as a sophomore, just trying to do what I can for the team, and that was the hardest part about coming in from freshman year. I was a floater for Trisco, and then all of a sudden I'm a starting sophomore. You know what I mean? And my big thing is, it's always been defense, but right as I started stopping like big time guys like Anthony Chavez was a big name around New Mexico since he's been a freshman. So when I got the chance to guard him and play him, I think that's when it really got good, is because ever since I shut him down that sophomore year, because I've always had him ever since my sophomore year. The only time I think he dropped 20 or above 20 was when I was in foul trouble in I want to say the district. Was it the district? It was a district championship this year, and he dropped 20-some points. And I respect Anthony, of course, with all my heart, but that was the only time that I really did mess up, was I got in foul trouble early, and he went off. But ever since I guarded Anthony my sophomore year, that's when I.
Now, is there extra motivation there, Mr. Hotshot, Mr. Lobo? Is that a little bit of extra motivation?
Oh,
you want to shut him down, right?
Definitely, it's definitely. Especially whenever this year, were you at the game against Valley where they were yelling overrated when I was at the free throw line?
Yeah.
That was good. I'm glad that happened.
Now, the other Lobo was on your own team. Now, I'm sure you guys had to have some battles in practice. You ever shut Jordan down in practice?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, always. Me and him were always, it was always, we give each other a couple bows. And I think that's what made us better as a team, too, is when guys were, because what Coach would do is he'd put the starting five, but they'd split us up. So me and Josiah would be on a team, and then it'd be Enrique and Jordan on the team. So us matching up against each other, and me having, because Coach his thing with me was get physical with Jordan. Because, guys were always grabbing Jordan in games, and so I was always grabbing him, pulling him around, and stuff like that, and especially.
Well, that was the way to get him, right? Yeah. When he was younger, you body him up, and he was shut down.
Yeah, especially when he was younger, he was just, That was with all of us, though. And then, so when we started going at it in practice hard, and I remember he threw a quick elbow at me real quick. He got me, and I started talk trashing right away. And I was trying to fight him in practice. I remember I was trying to fight him, and Coach Ortega, he won't say nothing, but after a while he's like, okay, let's keep it going. But because Coach likes it when we're getting into each other like that, because that makes us a better team. It really does.
All right, when we come back, we're going to have tonight's top 5 list. DeMarcus is going to list the top 5 trash talkers in the city. Other than him, does anyone hold a candle to his talking? We'll be right back.
Sadie's is a proud supporter of New Mexico high school sports and athletics, and we here at Proview Networks would like to thank Sadie's for their continued support in helping us bring you all of your New Mexico high school sports coverage.
All right, it's time for tonight's top 5 list. DeMarcus Sutphen is right here in the chair, and we've been talking about his defense and his trash talking, 2 of the things that he is the best at in the state. He's got the top 5 list of who else can do a little bit of talking. Let's start with number 5.
Number 5, I'd have to go Randy Castillo, Albuquerque High. Number 2, Silas Cole, Albuquerque High. And Brandon, what's his name from West Mesa? Brandon
Bolden? Okay.
Brandon Bolden, yeah. Brandon Bolden from West Mesa.
Well, you got 3, so 2 more. Who's your top 2?
Me and Taylor Turner will go at it. And let's see. I never dealt with him, but I always heard him throughout the game, though, was Eric Sonnenberg. I never had to guard him because that's a big guy. Jordan handled that. But I always heard him, what he would tell Jordan and stuff. I always heard him. I'd have to go with Eric Sonnenberg, though. All
right, so that's your list, huh? So do you ever hear anything from one of those 5? Like, oh, man, that's a good one. I might have to use that one. Or can you give us an example of those 5, of something they may have said?
Let's see. All defense, no offense. Just saying stuff like that. I'm trash and stuff like that. So with a few cuss words in the middle.
You ever use anybody's stuff, or are you all original?
If they tell me something good, they tell me something good, just to bounce back from, I'm like, shut up, bro. I'll slip in a cuss word and I'll say, shut up. Like, if I know it's good, I'll just say shut up or something because I know they got me. But I'll take it in. I'll definitely take it in and use it later on if it's something really good. Definitely.
All right, so I'm assuming you're an NBA guy as well, right? So you watch a lot of basketball on TNT. So here's something I noticed about you guys at Atrisco. You tell me if this is fair that I can give you crap for this, all right? So when I watch anyone else's team come into their games, they show up to their gym in scrubs, and they usually go right to the locker room, right? Well, I noticed you guys at Atrisco, you start dressing to the nines, you and Jordan, and you take that long walk all the way across. Was that something you guys intentionally started doing, or just a coincidence?
No, Coach always makes us dress up for games. So especially for home games, like the tough ones, like the district games ones, we always got to dress up for district. So that's just one thing. But I know all of the guys, we walk across everyone.
So I'm
like
within
that.
my right.
Yeah,
I noticed that.
We always walk across because we just.
I can give you hell for that. Then
we try to throw ourselves out there, which is fine because there's always a back way to the locker room. But
you never taken the back way ever.
Yeah, we walk across always. We always walk across. So
all right. Okay. So because I noticed that. The only thing missing here is Charles Barkley talking about one of you guys. Yeah. That's basically what's missing. All right. So talk about a little bit your family background, where your earliest basketball memories, your influences early as a child.
Basketball started off when I was 3. My mom's put me in itty bitty sports. I think that was with the YMCA, but my mom was really what got me into basketball. My mom and my dad growing up, and itty bitty sports was definitely where I got it. They was doing every sport, and I was in soccer, I was in baseball. Like any other kid, they just throwing each other in every sport, just trying to get their feel for whatever they like. And I started really liking basketball was when. There's this team I played for. I played with Eloy a long time ago growing up. We were playing on this AYBL team called the Los Amigos. And after that, I've been in love with basketball ever since. And we've been we played with each other for a good 3 years. And then we moved on to another team. That's when I got on the team with Jelante, Andres Vigil, and Ben Manzano from Volcano. And that's when I got on the New Mexico Dogs. And then we were all gonna go to high school together, but I fell in love with the Atrisco on the west side, so. That's when I really started liking basketball a lot, was that middle school. Middle school is when I really fell in love with the game of basketball.
So that super team thing in the NBA, could you imagine that on the high school level? Would that make it less fun?
Man.
I mean, could you see yourself anywhere but Atrisco now, looking back?
See, that's my thing, is I wouldn't, that's just me though, I would never ever leave Atrisco. Unless something really bad went down, I would never, ever leave Atrisco because I couldn't just abandon Coach Ortega like that.
Well, since you brought it up, Coach kind of went on the whole this is about us, forget everyone that left tour right after you won the blue trophy.
Yeah.
So obviously that competition is huge. The super team thing, I mean, I don't know what you think about it in the NBA, but in high school, I'm kind of glad that the talent is spread out.
Yeah, definitely. Well, because that's what I think was whenever Taylor Turner went over to Cleveland, I was like, oh, he just wants a ring. He's just going for a ring. So me and him talked and stuff, and of course that was the case. And him and the coach can get along, but I'm very glad the talent's out and about too. Because if it was all at one place, that wouldn't be fun. Knowing me because how competitive I am, I wouldn't ever join a winning team. I won't do it because I'm just, I'm a hard head. I'm stubborn. I'll try to fight you if anything. You know what I mean? So I'm just all about, especially Coach Ortega. I wouldn't leave him. I couldn't leave him like that. No way.
So LeBron's son had his first dunk in Vegas this week. Do you remember when you served up your first one? Tell us about that.
Oh, my first dunk. It was. Are we talking about in a game or just like?
Well, both. When was your first one in practice? Who'd you serve that up on?
My first dunk was like the end of my freshman year in the summer, where it was just in like an open gym, and then I got a quick little baby dunk in, and then my first dunk in a game. My first dunk in a game. I think it'd have to be. In a game, I think it was this year. Now that I think about it, I think it was this year against Manzano. Yeah, I think that was my first dunk in a game. I got a steal and I just put it down. And I got really hype over that. But yeah, that was my first dunk.
Now, one of the better dunkers that I saw actually wasn't a Trisco kid, and JoJo Brooks used to throw some down.
Oh, man.
He had some crazy hops. Who's dunking on your team now in practice?
It's me and Marquise Crawford.
Okay.
And
someone getting close, like you think maybe, or
getting close. Let's see. Zach Carmignani, he'll get there. I know he will. Let's see. This is where I wish Josiah was like a good 5'10", 5'11", because if he was a good 5'10", 5'11", Josiah would be up there because he has bounce in him too. But I think right now it's just me and Marquise right now that are getting it. Repeatedly.
So game dunk, probably you're the best bet, right, on the team?
Right now, yeah. Right now, yeah.
And what's one of the best in-game dunks you've seen, whether it be on your team or against you? Well, let's take your team out, because that'll be the easy answer is to pick maybe one of Jordan's dunks. But what's one of the better in-game dunks you've seen that wasn't on your team?
Oh, man. I don't know, because Jordan...
Now, he had a lot this year.
Oh, he caught so many bodies this year. I don't know if there's that many people that dunk better than Jordan this year. Let's see. And in game, like against us, let's see.
Well, or it could have been just a game you saw. Highlights.
Shagun Oyeku. Whenever he put that down with one hand and hung on the rim. I forgot.
Oh, that was against West Mesa, right? Yeah, that was in the top 10.
Yeah.
He got West Mesa good. Too. All right, so in our final moments here, what are your goals for this year? Obviously, you have the championship is behind you now. It's refocused on another year. You lose a key piece in Jordan Arroyo. Mm-hmm. What are your goals this year?
Just to prove that we're still a whole good team without Jordan. You know what I mean? That's what the guys say is that, you guys had Jordan. Now that Jordan's gone, you guys are going to be trash. And I'm just, okay. You know what I mean? Because everyone just says stuff, but, I don't I try not to talk smack back. I really do, but.
I don't believe that.
I really do. I try. But some people just say the wrong stuff to me, and I just got to say stuff back. But I think our thing this year is we're gonna just try to stay composed and stay not so big-headed, and just prove that we can win games. You know what I mean? Just prove that we can win games and get to that tournament. I still think we can make a hard run in the tournament.
Now, just quickly, as an individual, you're going into a district that has a lot of guys that just flat out want to shoot. So you got to be just licking your chops this year to shut some of those guys down.
Oh, especially David Patterson. That's my boy.
Shots fired right there. He's already targeting somebody.
David Patterson, Jalen Munn. Let's see. Jelante Gray, that's my boy too, from Volcano. Let's see. That's going to be a very fun dish. We get to play each team twice. Oh, yeah. That's going to be fun. I can't wait.
I think we're going to be at a lot of those games. We're going to be spending a lot of time in that district. Hey, thanks so much for coming in. I've been wanting to do this for a while. I appreciate it. That's DeMarcus Sutphen. He's the defending champion, the best guard in the city defensively, and the best talker in the city. Good night, everybody.